Hi. Today, I thought I would discuss the effects of financial stress on individuals and how, the intersecting roles of inflation and tariffs impact individuals. So, first of all, financial stress is pervasive. It affects many individuals across various socioeconomic backgrounds. It encompasses the anxiety and distress experienced due to financial challenges, things such as debt, insufficient income, or unexpected expenses. Um, it it arises when individuals perceive their financial resources as inadequate to meet their obligations or needs or desires. It can stem from various situations, including mounting debt, job loss, unforeseen housing expenses. Um, it's subjective. It means that two individuals in similar situations might experience very different levels of stress. And it does depend on the perceptions of the situation and their coping mechanisms. So there are a number of psychological impacts of financial stress, and they can be quite profound. Individuals grappling with these financial difficulties often report heightened levels of anxiety, depression, and other mental health stresses. For example, a study published in the Journal of Financial Therapy found that financial stress is significantly associated with increased psychological distress, and this includes feelings of hopelessness and worthlessness. Chronic stress or chronic financial stress can also lead to the development of maladaptive coping mechanisms. And we see this in individuals who develop substance use problems or compulsive behaviors such as gambling as a means both to escape and repair their financial situations. Not only do these behaviors fail to address the situation, they may actually exacerbate it. Also, physical health consequences. Um, it can weaken the immune system. It can make individuals more susceptible to basic illnesses because of that weakened immune system. We know that common physical symptoms associated with financial stress include headaches, gastrointestinal issues, and sleep disturbance. According to Health Direct Australia, individuals under financial stress may experience a range of physical symptoms and, of course, are at increased risk of anxiety and depression. The chronic activation of the body's stress system can lead to more severe health issues such as hypertension and cardiovascular. Constant release of stress hormones like cortisol can damage blood vessels and increase the risk of issues like heart attacks and strokes. It's not a minor issue, it is very serious. There are also social implications for financial stress. Strain personal relationships and familial relationships. People may withdraw from their social circles either due to embarrassment or simply the inability to participate in activities. And this leads to isolation, which leads to increased erode support networks because of this. And these support networks are precisely what is crucial for supporting a person through these stressors. They no longer have the social support they need to cope with the very stress that led to the loss of social support. It can also lead to conflicts within families, particularly over spending decisions and financial choices. Um, Inflation certainly exacerbates financial stress. It erodes purchasing power because the costs of essential goods and services become or rise faster than income. Individuals may find it challenging to maintain their standard of living or even a very basic standard of living. And this can lead to things like increased borrowing, depletion of savings, heightened financial stress, inability to pay even the most important of bills. So I'm going to give you an example, and we see this all the time in Canada. It's the price of groceries, um, as well the price of housing. There are healthcare needs that I think younger Canadians may not recognize as being caught as being their personal costs, but those of us who are older certainly do. And these may lead to very difficult choices and sacrifices. So, because of the uncertainty and unpredictability of inflation, it can also make financial planning difficult. So, making choices based on these difficulties, such as not taking needed medications, not obtaining necessary mobility devices. Really interesting discussion with a friend the other day, and she is not in financial difficulty where I am, and she was recommending all these great products that would help me at my site. I know these products, but even with the support of something we call the STEP program here in Alberta, I simply can't afford them. They are they're luxuries, even though they're also necessities. I can't label things because I can't afford the basic products to label. But I'm not going to tell her that because she's never been in this position. It can be these choices can be very difficult. I see folks choosing not to take needed medications because they can't afford them. Um, Tariffs will impact that as well. Uh, these lead to higher prices for consumers, and so when a country imposes tariffs on imports, domestic consumers will usually bear the brunt of those increases, and this is why this tariff war is so serious. So let's give you an example of electronics. If tariffs are placed on electronics from another country, the people who who are at the brunt of that will experience a price rise, making them less affordable. So what in this era are kind of necessary electronics will no longer be available. You simply won't be able to afford them. And we know with President Trump's uh, actions on China and his threatened actions on Canada and Mexico, um, this is going to disrupt supply chains. It's going to increase costs of everything. And this is not just in the countries being tariffed by the United States, because retaliatory tariffs have been put in place by China. They will be put in place by Canada and Mexico. Other countries are being threatened. They will also have made it clear that they will put in retaliatory tariffs. So prices will increase for everyone. Americans will actually bear the brunt of this. Um, how do these kind of all interplay? Well, people end up making, like I said, decisions to cut real necessities out, like medication or mobility or necessary devices. Um, there are some ways that we can mitigate these stressors. One of them is financial education and planning, and again, that assumes you have enough money to even survive. It is important to budget effectively. We certainly see differences even in people like me who are living in gross poverty. We see differences. We see folks who have more difficulty making choices, or when they get money, they spend it all. They don't plan for important bills like heat and power and that sort of thing. We see others who have slightly better planning skills. So education is important. We need policy interventions. Governments can implement policies that will mitigate some of the damage. And these can include things like social safety nets, subsidies for essential goods, or even measures to control inflation. There needs to be increased mental health support. People need access to support that will help them cope with the psychological impacts of financial stress. This can be things like support groups, counseling, therapy, anything that will help them develop strategies to cope with these everyday stressors. And of course, we talk about community support. So Strengthening communities for individuals can provide social support, reduce those feelings of isolation, and offer practical assistance. That being said, it may be more difficult for individuals who can't afford to get out to activities. So online activities can be an alternative that can be very helpful. And I would highly encourage individuals who are experiencing financial support and can't afford to get out, don't have gas money, don't have vehicles, don't have access to transportation, can't afford cabs, try to find online options for social support that may help to alleviate some of the struggle. Um, these things, they're not going to go away. We're going to be dealing with them, I think, for the rest of our lives. I've, I'm 61 and I've been dealing with it for my entire life. What can change is the coping mechanisms we employ. I say, please don't stay in the dark. Share, find people who can understand your situation. Don't be afraid to speak out. And remember, if you enjoyed this video, please hit subscribe and like. Please share with those who might be interested. Please comment. Again, keep them respectful. And with that, I say, if you to be senior is to be proud. Hugs.